Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print. And there's no library. The reason, folks, is for the different background is because my wife and I actually just bought our very first home. So we're moving out of our apartment and getting everything all into boxes. So unfortunately, for a while, you're going to have to deal with this background. But it'll be temporary, thank goodness. But so for now, what we're going to do is continue on as normal. So that's explaining the background. So we are now in Marvel Star Wars. We're still going through the Marvel comic book series, and we are finally in the 24th issue of the series. And in our chronology, we're in the year 1979. Star Wars has been out now for almost 2 years, and we're going to be looking at, like I said, just one issue, the issue 24. The title is called Silent Drifting, and I actually have it collected in this omnibus here, and this is by Dark Horse a long time ago, and it's Dark Encounters is the name of it, Volume 2, in case you're interested. And then this is issue 24. Ben Kenobi fights alone. Now, this is a an oddity in our chronology, being the fact that the order is being shuffled. This story takes place before, no, after, I'm sorry, after the events of Star Wars 15. So they're still all in the Millennium Falcon before the events of the last arc that we talked about. And so Leia is, recounting a story. Now, this is actually written by Mary Jo Duffy, someone who will take over the series much later down the road from Archie Goodwin. And so this is her one of her first stories in the Marvel Star Wars. And so, what is the story? Well, the story here is that Princess Leia is telling Han and Luke and the gang a tale of a young Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Old Republic. Now, to show you what this young Obi-Wan Kenobi looks like, that doesn't look like Ewan McGregor to me. Because it's not, because this is 1979, and we wouldn't see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi until 1999. So so this is based on the Alec Guinness, portrayal of Obi-Wan because that's all Marvel had back in 1979. But I mean, that's okay. It's not a contradiction, so don't worry about that. Essentially, what it means is, or how it's explained is that this is how Leia is imagining the story as she's telling it. So the story was told to her by Bail Organa, who knew what Obi-Wan was looking like in the days of the Old Republic. So, but the only time that she's seen Obi-Wan is that one time on the Death Star, and so she's probably remembering telling the story and imagining a younger version of what we saw in the film, which is what's presented in here. So, the plot of this story is that Obi-Wan is this passenger on this pleasure cruiser, and he gets word that these Mercen pirates they've been spotted in the Mercen asteroid belt. So Obi-Wan is dealing with this. He kind of holds off judging these accusations that this guy named Augustus Triel is working for these pirates. And so what happens is that these pirates are actually tracking a signal from a device on the ship. And Obi-Wan basically destroys the device, and the pirates can't track them anymore. The end. I mean, there's not much to this. It's a just a one arc story. I mean, it's kind of just one and done, and that's it. There really isn't much to that. That's really, all we can say. So, is this an essential read? Not really. Even if you're reading the Marvel comic books, I don't know if I'd call this an essential read. It might be worth your time if you're interested in seeing what the old republic is like through someone's eyes who wasn't living it, but ultimately it's not reality of what it actually was. Now, an interesting thing though about this book is that this is one of the only times, or the only time, that pre-Phantom Menace, or the only time I guess pre-Phantom Menace, that we get to see the prequel era. After this, George Lucas would not let anyone touch the prequel era until he kind of fleshed out and knew what he was going to do with the prequel trilogy. Until those outlines and scripts, or at least the outlines were made for the prequel trilogy, authors could not touch this era. So this is one of the only times, if not the only time, we get to see pre Phantom Menace, at least, prequel era. So that is kind of cool and makes it really unique. So even so, even if you're reading and like I said, even if you're reading the Marvel books, is this an essential read? I don't really think so. I can't really recommend it. And again, this is after issue 15, so it's really just a flashback. It doesn't have anything to do with the main plot going forward. So ultimately, it's your call. So, anyways, can't really recommend it, but it's not that bad either. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode. Catch you later.